Hello baddies and ghouls, Whimsy here with a non-spoiler review of one of the strangest stories I've ever read. And I'm not talking about like flying radioactive bear levels of weird, which is an actual thing in fiction. It's formatting wise. So I think it's pretty safe to say this is like nothing I've ever read, and certainly not what I was expecting. I'm talking about the high fantasy novella by Daniel Polansky, and I went into this blind. I was grabbed by the cover because it's gorgeous, and then I was pulled in by the blurb, and I'm gonna walk you through what my first impression and what I thought I was getting into. Okay, so the blurb reads like this. When a woman with perfect memory sets out to solve a riddle, the thread she tugs on could bring a whole city crashing down. The god king who made her is at risk, and his other servants will do anything to stop her. To become the god king Amaneus, Mane had to master all 7 perfections, developing her body and mind to the peak of human performance. She remembers everything that has happened to her in absolute clarity, a gift that will surely drive her mad. But before she goes, Mane must unravel a secret which threatens not only the carefully prepared myths of the God King's ascent, but her own identity and the nature of truth itself. And this sounded like mind-blowing, like, yes! I love stories that are crafted out of mythos and have like a theocracy and are steampunky, and I love mystery. And it almost reminded me of The 100,000 Kingdoms and 3 Parts Dead in. 1 second, I will grab those somewhere from my shelf. Hold on there. Okay, this is what I thought I was going to get into. And the execution was a lot different. So I started reading, and the narrator is speaking to someone, and I was like, okay, this is like an epilogue, and we'll find out who the speaker is addressing later, the narrator. Then I get into the next chapter, and someone else is speaking to a mystery person, and then I realized, wait a minute, wait, me, you're talking to me. We are actually in second person here, and usually it creates like a feeling of intimacy, but I didn't get that here. It was like a disconnect, like it felt like I, the main character, was going around trying to find out the identity of a woman in my locket. And I'm the silent hero, kind of like Link and Zelda. However, everyone almost felt like an NPC. They're just talking and didn't care about me almost. There were a few characters who like knew the main character, but it felt like they were spouting just dialogue for world building.
Do you get to the Cloud District very often? Oh, what am I saying? Of course you don't.
And it was so frustrating because I love RPGs and I love interaction, and I feel like there is so much potential for second person. Like, sorry, I'm back. My kids were deciding to play right now. They decided during my review was a good time for them to just go hog wild. But anyway, I feel like a really awesome series that manages second person well is the 5th season, and I don't want to give away spoilers, but it makes the revelation feel amazing, and you really feel like the narrator is speaking to you, and it creates a sense of belonging, and it's mind-blowing. For this series, for the 7th perfection, it just felt like disconnected dialogue that I couldn't skip through. It was almost a did not finish for me, but I felt obligated to finish it. I just felt no attachment to the mystery. It could have been so engaging, like, oh, I'm a part of this thing, but no, like, it was really ill-conceived NPCs. I didn't know their backstory. I didn't have an idea of all of my backstory. There are a few characters that worked where you get a reveal about like Manet or Manet. I'm saying Manet like the French impressionist. as a person, but for the most part, I was totally disengaged. And I'm okay with interview style. Like, I feel like one other experimental work of fiction that I've mentioned before is called The Themis Files. It works as a mystery because it's like the investigative files, and you have investigators interviewing the scientist and expedition team members who unearthed this ancient relic. But the people involved in the story are actually involved in the mystery, so they know what's going on in our key pivotal players, so it moves the plot forward when you actually speak to them. And in The Seventh Perfection, there's just like the random beggar who's like, let me tell you about my life story. And then you move on and never meet them again. So it's like, what is the purpose of that? So this was just a frustrating experience for me as someone who loves high fantasy and mystery and RPGs. I applaud the author for experimenting, just the execution was not successful for me. It's like extended metaphor time, but it could have been a beautiful interwoven tapestry that you see it all come together in the end with the revelations. However, it was like incomplete patchwork. It was an unsatisfactory story, so even when we get to the revelation, I feel like there's so many holes missing, so it just didn't have that impact for me, and I wanted it to work. But I do want other authors, like in high fantasy or mystery or otherwise, to continue experimenting with their form and writing style. So let me know what, writing style wise, what series really had a unique and effective and impactful writing style. For me, I would say probably the 5th season and The Themis Files. Let me know your thoughts. And yeah, for this story, I wasn't feeling it. I felt like it was very divisive. It will either be like Inception levels of mind-blowing for you, or disappointing.
Disappointed!
For me, it was unfortunately the latter. Regardless, I will say that I'm thankful for Tor and NetGalley for giving me this arc in exchange for an honest review. Even if I end up like not enjoying something or liking, if you pull something apart and critique it and figure out what you do like and what you don't, it lets you know how to become a better writer. So this is, I guess, a learning experience for everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side. See ya!